Our next speaker is Dennis Livingston, President and Technical Director for MBR Systems, an IWS company. He is going to be speaking with us around how industry stakeholders are not aware of membrane replacement options for aging membrane bioreactor wastewater treatment plants. Legacy membrane technologies of all types, brands, and geometries can now be easily replaced with more efficient designs on a part-for-part basis in hours or days. Dennis, can't wait to hear more. Take us away.
Thank you, Travis, for that intro. In this short presentation, we'll be talking about modernizing MBRs and focusing on sort of part-for-part upgrades of older membrane bioreactor or MBR facilities. I'll be talking about different types of membrane products made from different materials using different geometries, but I'll focus on primarily the upgrade of what we call flexible flat sheet type technologies and rigid flat plate systems. So we'll get more into that as we go through the presentation. A little bit about myself. I've been doing this a long time. I got into the industry about 24 years ago or so, 2001. I was able to help deliver with the support of my team and with the stakeholders in the project, deliver the very first system in the U.S. MBR wastewater treatment system using, again, what we call rigid flat plate membranes. And then since that time, I've worked on many other systems. We also, several years later, a different team, I had a different team at that time. We delivered the very first system using what's called a flexible flat sheet product around 2012, 2013. So I've been around the industry quite a while, and what has changed, I guess, some of the things that have changed are the number of membrane products that are available for use in MBR systems, and then the efficiency of those technologies. So what's interesting today, and kind of really the premise of this discussion, is that there are a lot of membrane technologies and really sort of ancillary products that are available to upgrade aging infrastructure and existing MBR systems pretty readily. So we're going to talk about what those options are and how that might look in the context of several case studies. So where does our experience come from? I mentioned that we've been at this for about a quarter century now, hard to believe. But me and my teams have worked on about 400 MBR projects over the years. And the combined capacity of those plants is about a 250 million gallons per day or somewhere around that. These aren't exact numbers. I see where sometimes I use 375 and 400 plants and more or less, but about 250 million gallons per day of combined treatment capacity. We put in over 800,000 flat plate elements into systems. And then in addition to that, we've worked with stakeholders to put in about a 250,000 square meters of flexible flat sheet membranes. So lots of experience. We're going to try to share some of that today in the context of sort of this discussion about aftermarket parts and upgrades of existing systems. We've also worked with 15 different membrane technologies, so we're able to bring experience to the conversation based on what we have seen from different manufacturers over the last couple of decades, different companies, different types of products, ranging from polymeric type membranes to ceramic type, from flat sheet to flat plate and to hollow fiber. So there should be something for everyone in this discussion. If you're familiar with MBR technology and you're looking at a particular plant, what might be the options for upgrading an MBR facility? So let's get into it. I mentioned our experience comes from a long history of working with MBR systems, integrating systems, upgrading and optimizing projects. Really, we focus on providing services, but also helping to deliver total systems, packages, and whatnot. parts and modular solutions. We're going to focus on the parts piece today. What I mean by that is not so much the bits and pieces that make up membrane equipment, but really looking at cassettes and modules at that level. So our focus now, after having done this for so long, really is to help the industry to access membrane technology, because a lot of knowledge is really siloed within manufacturers, their experience, their team, or with engineers and their teams. So we're trying to make a lot of that knowledge readily available. And also, it's important to have membrane equipment available in the US for quick delivery. So we assemble and inventory about 3 MGD worth of membrane filtration capacity at our facility in Brenham, Texas, called the MBR Tech Hub. Actually, we bring in parts and pieces from all over the world, manufacture and fabricate some there as well to build the membrane equipment that can go into systems across the country. The interesting part is that today, now, there are technologies that can pretty much be used to upgrade any MBR system that's out there. We're going to talk about 5 of them today. Looking at this picture, I say we have 5+ technologies kind of in inventory that we can use to look at upgrading an existing facility, because really there are 6, but one is kind of, we're in discussions with that manufacturer. But here are the top 5. There is a Toray NHP 210-300S. That's the bigger picture to the right there. There is a SuperTech hollow fiber module in the upper center. Serafiltech ceramic membrane in the upper left. A Mitex module from WTA Unisol, also flexible flat sheet in the bottom middle. And then a Mod and Hummel L+ biocell module in the bottom left. So why are stakeholders, owners looking to upgrade older facilities? For a variety of reasons. Usually they want to address a specific maintenance issue, reduce cleaning, or they want to expand and increase capacity. Of course, increasing filtration capacity is sort of one part of the equation or puzzle, but that's where we often start. And in terms of what size of plants that this conversation applies to, what size of systems can be upgraded, we've seen where even small plants treating 20,000 gallons per day, 0.02 MGD, they can be readily upgraded. And we have an example of a 5 MGD plant that was recently expanded as well. So we'll talk about for each of these products in the context of some recent case studies to give context. Starting with flat plate. So real quickly, just taking a step back, in the industry, flat sheet technologies include what we call rigid flat plate products and flexible flat sheet. The rigid plate products generally have a backing plate that's about 6 millimeters thick, made from plastic. It's typically the dimension or the thickness. And then the flexible flat sheet type products are generally the elements are 2 millimeters thick, and they're pliable and they bend. Right now, we're talking about the upgrade of some legacy or older rigid plate products. This project is one we did in Texas, 20,000 gallons per day. It was at a rest stop. We put the original system in about 2011. They were having some maintenance challenges. It was just time to upgrade the plant anyway. So we all collaborated to basically swap out the old plates with the Toray NHP 210 shown there. And the whole process took about a day or so. And again, this isn't unique to one particular product. It's pretty common now that frames and systems, modules, new membrane products are drop-in compatible or directly compatible with these older products. So the process was pretty fast. The team basically took out the old product, put it in 2011, put in the newer one, and increased membrane area by about 50%. In this case, they also wanted to increase safety factor. That's what they got as a result of the change out. Moving up to a little bigger type project, this one was also in Texas, a half MGD. At this facility, we had actually put the rigid plate membranes in, I think maybe 2012, something like that. And the customer called us back and said, hey, can you work with us to upgrade the technology? They wanted to reduce maintenance. They wanted to increase reliability a little bit. So we came up with the Torre design and replaced the plates with the sheets. This took about a week to do or so. Per train, they have 3 trains. And the guys actually swapped out 2 of the trains, but left one of the trains with the old flat plate products. That's another option as well to keep costs down. If there are good plates or good elements, consolidate those into one train or part of the plant and then upgrade the rest of the plant. In this case, they got about 45% more membrane area. Kind of moving up, then we started with the 20,000 gallon per day example and what it looked like to upgrade that plant, and then a half MGD. This project in Australia took a little bit longer. The customer there wanted to upgrade the facility from microfiltration rigid plate membranes to flexible flat sheet technology using ultrafiltration membranes. So that's what happened as part of this project. It happened in phases. It was actually a collaboration between MBR, Hydroflux, and Torre. So that the net result of the upgrade was to increase membrane area, but they also got the ultrafiltration membranes. And then there were UV units that were added and some SCADA improvements were done as well. But overall, a fairly straightforward process done in phases to upgrade a fairly significant plant from older plates to newer flat sheet technology. Now we're going to look at what can be done to upgrade aging flat sheet products as well. And this is a facility we actually provided the original plant back in 2004. They've gone through 4 expansions over the last 20 years. They want to increase capacity, so we work with them we made some adjustments to the equipment as well, changed out the pumps, worked with them on the SCADA system. But really the main change was just dropping in the newest version of the Modernizing flat sheet L+ technology, or BioCell product, that has higher permeability. So after this upgrade that took about a week, they had increased performance and permeability. Less cleaning was required to maintain the plant, and they got higher capacity out of the facility as well. On this slide, we actually look at 3 different projects. One was done in Washington, the other in New Mexico, and the last one in Virginia. There were different reasons for the upgrades in each case. For the plant in New Mexico on the left, they were having some maintenance issues with what's called clogging. And that's where mixed liquor or sludge can get caught between the elements and is not removed with typical or standard cleaning. They were having issues with sort of the sludge age at the facility and screening. So going to the new product that has a little bit different design than the legacy type design. It has open sides. So in this case, it wasn't about the membrane change. It was more about having open sides so that when it's more resistant to the clogging issue they were seeing. And if it happens, what's called again, clogging or sludging, the operators can easily rinse it out. So they saw reduced maintenance, higher reliability, and slightly increased capacity. The plant in in Washington in this case, it was a tribal installation at a casino with also some housing customers feeding the plant. For that facility, it had the modules themselves had been in service for about 9 years and just needed to be replaced. So it was time to do the exchange. They went with the most current technology and again saw some benefits in terms of higher permeability, lower cleaning, and improved performance. And again, it was kind of part for part, just a drop-in replacement. And the last one was at a plant called St. Paul in Virginia. At this facility, they actually saw some damage from Hurricane Helene that went through that area of the country. They got some FEMA funds to help with the upgrade to replace some damaged parts. So we're able to work with them and collaborate to quickly change out their old equipment that was damaged during the hurricane with the new equipment. And they increased capacity, got better performance out of the membranes and out of the plant. That all happened for each of these projects. It took about a week to do. We've looked at some smaller systems and upgrading those plants from their older technology or products to the most current generation of flat sheet module. We've also done this at larger plants. This is a facility in Pikeville, Kentucky. It's designed to treat municipal wastewater. It was originally a retrofit type project, and they had challenges with the original product and sort of system for several years. The operators did an excellent job of maintaining capacity and getting the most out of the facility, but it was always a struggle to handle flows during the winter months and high flow time of the year. So we worked with them and collaborated with Modern Hummel M&H to replace the older product with the most current generation, the flat sheet biocell called the L+, and basically resolved most of the problems. There are some other kind of minor changes that were made, but they were able to make it through this last winter, spring, and period of high flows without issue or incident, just by changing and swapping out to the next generation of products. So a good example there of being able to address a real need, improve plant performance, increase reliability, just by mainly changing out the product and making some minor adjustments to the system. So I talked about sort of the options for changing out older rigid plate products, for changing out or upgrading older flat sheet type systems. But with so many membrane products available now and the backward compatibility of those products with sort of aging infrastructure, this can be done with any type of membrane product at any MBR system. In fact, we worked with stakeholders to upgrade, to replace some failing ceramic membranes at a ski resort and an RV park, and basically to help them increase capacity at the plant and to improve or increase reliability at those facilities. And that all happens pretty much in days. The design or some of the sort of preparation can take a little bit longer, but the process is generally pretty fast. And this is also the case for hollow fiber systems. There are numerous hollow fiber plants out there. Many were installed, 2 decades ago, a decade ago. There's a long history there. And there are new technologies that exist today that can be dropped in again that are backward compatible. And that not only can increase capacity potentially or efficiency and reduce maintenance, but in some cases, the newer technologies, and I say new, they've been around for years now, but the current generation of technologies can increase the operating window of plants and give operators more flexibility in terms of managing the biological process, optimizing the facility for operating costs, extending the service life of equipment. So the kind of main point here or takeaway is, if you're looking to upgrade an existing MBR plant, there are many technologies that can be used that are, in many cases, directly compatible or virtually backward compatible with the older products that may have a lot of benefits. You have to know a little bit about MBR systems and kind of the main parameters that to look at when making the swap or the switch, but it's generally fairly straightforward now to figure out what those options are. You're not stuck with one product or one type. There are a lot of different ways to maximize the performance of an older MBR system to get more out of it, more capacity, and higher performance. So with that, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your time and listening to this presentation. If you click on the link, or actually, I'm sorry, if you use the QR code to go to the product finder, It's not, it doesn't cover every product right now. It's not perfect, but most likely if you're looking to see what options there are to replace older plates, the rigid plates, or older flexible flat sheet technologies, products, you might find a few options there to look at, and at least you can evaluate how your plant might operate differently or better following such an upgrade. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dennis. Wonderful information there. We appreciate you sharing your time and your knowledge with us here on the Virtual Water Expo.